Coding. Gotta love it. Gotta hate it. Love it when you know what to do. Hate it when you don't. And hate it when there's a bug, but you don't know how to fix it. Let's get started. So here is the main interface of code blocks. Say file, new, file, C, C++ source, go. Next, C, enter your file path. So go to these three dots and select where you would want your document to go. Type in your file name. Let's just say coding and finish. Now you're met with a blank page. Very daunting, I know. Your code starts off with libraries. What is a library? It's a place where you go to get information. You go to study there, you go to read books. It's a basis full of knowledge and things that you can use. Same thing in coding. A library is what is referenced to get functions. A function is like words. If I tell you, pick up, you know that, okay, I need to take this object and lift it into the air because that function is pick up. Cool. Now you know what a function is, you know what a library is. But now you might be asking, how do I know what library I should use? Is there only one? Is there multiple? There are multiple. Easiest answer to your question? Check your textbook or Google it. Honestly, there are so many libraries, but I'll give you the main three that I basically always put on my coding before I even started the assignment. You have to remember, in our case at least, they mark according to what you add in your code. So if you can at least write the library and a few other parts that I'm going to explain now, you're already getting marks, even though your code might not work. Okay, back to the main point. How do you even reference a library? Let me show you. So you're going to say hashtag include pointy bracket stdio.h, close the pointy bracket, hash include pointy bracket stdlib.h, close the pointy bracket, and then last one, hash include math.h. There you have it. You reference three libraries. Now let's just recap. What is a library? A library references back to functions that you can then use in your code. If you don't reference a library, the computer will not know what your code means. But now what? Well, you have your library. Now it's your sandwich part. Now, a sandwich has two sandwich slices. These sandwich slices is called your main function, and everything in between is full of other functions. But this is your main function. How do you type your main function? Well, you say main, brackets, and then curly brackets. But now what? Well, you have your library, you have your sandwich or your main code. Now you need to enter return 0. You're going to say return 0. What does return 0 do? Well, you have to remember that a computer runs on zeros and ones. That's the language that it speaks. That's the computer's alphabet. So in this case, return 0 says that, yes, if the program gives you 0, then ta-da! It returns 0, it worked successfully. If it returns a 1, however, it did not return successfully. Now that you have your main parts, let's refresh them, your library, your sandwich or your main part, and your return. But now we want to make a program. Usually where you start off when you learn coding, you say, hello world. So let's do that. A function is like pickup, right? What is the function to say hello world? Well, that function is called printf, brackets. Then you add quotation marks and you say whatever you want to say. Hello world. Let's add an exclamation mark to be extra. And then end with a semicolon. A semicolon basically tells the program that that line of code is done, so it can continue on to the next line. So if you don't end it with a semicolon, which is usually some of the main errors that everyone makes once, at least in their coding journey, it happens so many times if you have a bunch of code that you forget to add a semicolon. So the program doesn't want to continue because you didn't tell it that that line ends. Now we have our first program. So let's run it. So build and run. Ta-da! Hello world. You ran your first program. Congratulations! Check out my other videos where we do practice problems and continue learning the world of coding.